A while back, I made a video naming Pokémon that I believed shouldn't have got an evolution. This included the likes of some baby Pokémon and some Pokémon getting two choices on what they can evolve into. Today's video is going to be some sort of a sequel, but instead of naming Pokémon that I think shouldn't have got an evolution, I name Pokémon that I think should get an evolution. Now, just to get it out of the way, I'm not going to be naming Pokemon that, based on anything, should probably get an evolution. Like with the anime, like they do something and stuff like that. I don't really know that stuff. So, no, nothing like that. This is primarily Pokemon that I believe should get another evolution. So let's not waste any time and get started with our first Pokemon. Lapras is a Generation 1 Water Ice type. It is also a single stage Pokemon. However, Lapras has lived through 9 generations and still hasn't gained an evolution or pre-evolution. For Lapras, I believe it should get a pre-evolution, mainly because of its stats being high already. Personally, I like the Pokemon Lapras, and I think instead of just finding it out in the wild late into the game or midway through, you can find a smaller version of it that you can work towards getting Lapras. Now, Lapras is more of a just I want situation. Like, I think a baby version, or not a baby Pokemon, I hate baby Pokemon, but like something like, I'm trying to think of like an early water type, like a Magikarp, something like that, like something along those lines that you can later get Lapras from. I think that'd be a lot better, and I would personally enjoy that very much, and I would use it nearly every game, I think. This is a theme you might start to notice, like I said at the start, where it's just something that I want, like not something that it even makes sense, just something that I would personally love to see in the games. So get ready for that, I guess. The next Pokemon up is Shuckle. Whenever I've looked at the Pokemon Shuckle, I've always wondered, why doesn't it have an evolution? It just looks like a Pokemon that needs one, kind of, where it looks incomplete to me. Yeah, it does have a decent base stat total, even though most of that's carried from its defense, but it has always looked incomplete. And when I wasn't that into Pokemon, but I was getting into it, and I saw Shuckle for the first time, I believe I actually spent a good few minutes trying to find out what the evolution to Shuckle was, just because I felt like it needed one. So I think it should get a bigger turtle, whatever it actually is. It should get something bigger, something that makes it feel more complete. Maybe even just like a regional variant where it's changed a bit, just to give it something else other than looking like an incomplete Pokemon. Another type of Shuckle situation is Volby and Illumise. Now, these are not like a Pokemon that I really like, so I wouldn't be that bothered if they were left, but I still feel like I should include them because they're not really good, if you understand. They've got no real value towards them. They're just kind of there to make up the numbers. And it's like, why have they made two Pokemon exactly the same instead of just putting one Pokemon? I think the game exclusives, but it's like, just put one Pokemon and then have an evolution to it instead of just having two, dare I say, useless Pokemon. Sorry to any Volbeat or Illumise fans out there, but I don't see the point in having two useless Pokemon, because there is some regional I keep saying there's some game exclusives that are useful. I can't name any off the top of my head, but well, I can legendaries, but they don't really count. But Volbeat and Illumai just don't have. I just don't feel like they should be Pokemon, and I feel like they should have made them put together and then have an evolution. So that's why I'm including them in this video, because I feel like they should be merged into one, have an evolution. That's what I'm getting at. Chatot is in here because it reminds me of like Pidgey or Starly. It's a regional bird Pokemon that should evolve, right? But it doesn't. I don't really understand what they were trying to do with Chatot, really. I think it would have a cool evolution as well, like a musical themed bird. I think that'd be amazing. But it's just been left, and to be fair, it kind of saddens me because it's a cool Pokemon, and I would use it if it had an evolution that I could work towards and then use in that way. But it doesn't. And once again, I don't understand why. Like, this is a Pokemon that I'd look at it and I'd think that has a 3-stage evolutionary bird line, like Pidgey, like Starly, but it doesn't. Give it something. Give it a regional variant that has an evolution, and say like the old one don't know how anymore or something like that. Give it something, please. Also, I just want to say I'm sorry if this video isn't the best quality. Obviously, I've had all this break. I've been talking about it for ages, so you might be disappointed in it. I'm trying to like talk from myself instead of like having a script, because if I have a script I have to follow it, and for me it just makes it a bit more boring than me actually like going straight in freestyling it basically. And I think it just comes more from my brain and my heart when I say the stuff without a script. So that's why this video might not be the best, but hey, it's a new thing. If it doesn't do well, I'll go back to scripts. If it does well, we'll carry on. Now, the reason why I've put Sork and Fro, whatever it's called, is because they remind me of, obviously, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, where Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan then got Hitmontop, then got Tyrogue. Why hasn't Sork and Fro done it? What, I don't know what it's called, but I know I said in my last video, I believe, that Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan shouldn't have them. But if you're going to give them to Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan, surely you give them to Sork and Fro. So that's the only reason they're in here, is because you can't do it for one and then not do it for the other. It's either you don't do either or you do both. And that is a threat. Now, I do have a few more that I would want to talk about, including Furfrou, Kamala, Squawkabilly, but I'm not going to get into them. They might be in a part 2 if this does well. But there is one that I want to talk about, and it is from Generation 8. Stonejourner was introduced in the Britain of Pokemon, Galar, as a Pokemon in reference to Stonehenge, the rock formation in England. Now, this is another case of it feels left out, it feels unfinished, but not for and going into an evolution having a pre-evolution like Lapras, where you just look at it and you think it's a decent all-round Pokemon. You find it in the end game, it should have something else. It should have a smaller rock formation, but it doesn't. Stonejourner is all by itself, really, and it's dear to my heart because, well, it's Galar. It's from the place that I'm from, so I just feel like it wasn't right if I didn't mention a Pokemon that was made for my region, but not given what it should be given, what it deserves, really. Anyways, that is the end of my video. Of course, it's my video. If any of you are here, it was a weird format, I know, I'm sorry, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.